So today's math lesson, you've already done a little bit of, especially on your homework from lesson 5. We're going to split today's lesson into 2 days. So today, and they're both going to be guided. Ethan, please sit up. Put it down. Put it down. And scoot your chair. Now today's lesson, we will do the examples and we will do the guided practice if we get to it. Tomorrow, we will do the independent practice together. And then tomorrow night, you'll do the homework. The one I'll print it and send it to you. I have not done that yet, girls at home, because I already knew that we were going to do this in 2 days. We've done it in 2 days almost every year. So, because this one is basically reading comprehension with a little bit of math. So just to let you know, when you have a division problem with a remainder, your answer to your word problem won't be 9 remainder 2. Because what would happen if I went to the grocery store and I walked up to like the deli counter and said, hey guys, I need 3 remainder 4 pounds of turkey. They would look at me and be like, what are you talking about? How can I give you remainder 4 pounds of turkey? Now that's because usually the remainder and the quotient part don't mean the same unit. A lot of times they are not the same unit. Sometimes they are, but they're not always the same unit. Like in the question on the homework the other night, it said something about Mitzi and her 3 brothers, and she had some coins, and she wanted to divide them amongst herself and her 3 brothers. I think she had, 38 coins? 38 coins. She wanted to split them. Herself. She wanted to split them between herself and her 3 brothers. And then it asks how many coins each gets and how many are left over. Well, you all did the math right. But some of you said 38 divided by 3. Is that how many people there are in this question? No, we have herself and her 3 brothers. So how many people is that? Show me. She has herself and her 1, 2, 3 brothers. So that's 4 people. So it's actually 38 divided by 4. So we know 38 means the total coins. We know 4 is the total people. Mitzi is a person. Her 3 brothers are people. And so when we finish, our quotient should tell us how many coins each get. Because if we take 38 items and put them in 4 groups for each of the people, the answer is going to be how many items, the coins, in each group for each person. So we imagine each person as a group. They have their hands. That's our little circle, our group. And then we're going to put those 38 coins in their hand. Mitzi's just going to walk along the line. She's going to have one hand with her coins and then one hand in the bag, passing it out. So then we're going to end up with the number of coins in each group, the coins in each hand. And then we might have something left over. So let's find out. We know 4 goes into 3, 0 times. 0 times 4 is 0. Please make sure you're paying attention today, because if you're not, this is going to be a very, very tough lesson. It is all about reading comprehension. So scoot your chair in, please, and sit up straight. You don't need your eraser out right now. You don't even need your pencil in your hand. 3 minus 0 is 3. Bring down the 8. Our new dividend is 38. 4 goes into 38 9 times. 9 times 4 is 36. 38 minus 36 is 2. We're going to erase that 0. And then we're going to put the remainder 2. Now, this is something we're actually going to take note of in just a second. The remainder is always the same unit as the dividend. Because think about it. The remainder is how many of those 38 coins are left over after we split it between those groups. So the remainder and the dividend are always the same unit. But remember, sometimes in division, the divisor is the number of groups, but sometimes it's the number of items in the groups, and you're trying to figure out how many groups there are. That's why, for division, the answer to this word problem cannot be 9 remainder 2. Colin, can I give you 9 remainder 2 coins? No, because what's the remainder 2 coins? What does that mean? This means I gave 9 coins, but there were 2 left over. So the answer to these questions, how many coins does each person get? 9. How many are left over? 2. Now in this case, the quotient and the remainder have the same unit, but that won't happen because remember, the quotient is always the total number of items, but the divisor and the dividend is always the total number of items, but sometimes the divisor means items and the quotient means groups, or the divisor can mean groups and the quotient can be items in each group. That's just how division is. The remainder will always be the same unit as the dividend. So that's the lesson we're going to be working on today. But before we start, up in the empty area, up in the top, well, it's not super empty, but you have some space. Yeah? We need to write some notes. Here, I'll scroll so you can see exactly where we are going to write. Okay, so the first note that you need to write in a division problem, comma, there will be 2 units. So remember, we have 4 parts to a division problem. Dividend, divisor, quotient, remainder. Sometimes we don't have that fourth, because do we always have a remainder? No, sometimes it fits evenly. So, but in a division problem, there will always be 2 units, 2 nouns. Remember, units are nouns that say what those numbers represent. So there will always be 2 units. Here's another note. The remainder and the dividend will always have the same unit. Because remember, the dividend is always the total amount of items, and the remainder is the number of those items left over once you break them up. Yes, did you have a question? Yes, if you need to you can leave your little pad out for a minute so that if you need another one, you can use it. So far, we know in a division problem, there will be 2 units. Even though there's 4 parts, there's going to be 2 units. The remainder and the dividend will always have the same unit. Because the dividend is always the total amount of items. The remainder is always what's left over of those items. So you might, keep your pad of Post-its out because we're going to have a couple notes to write. Think of how I want to word this. How do I want to word this? Don't write the yet. I had it in my head and now it's gone. Because this is important. So now this only, what I'm going to write next, only has to do with the dividend, the divisor, and the quotient. It does not have to do with the remainder because we already know what the remainder unit's going to be. Always it's always going to be the same as the dividend. Always, no matter what. But in the dividend, divisor, and quotient, this does not mean without the remainder. So in the dividend, divisor, and quotient, so that means we're not talking about the remainder right now. So everybody, are we talking about the remainder right now?
No.
No, we are not. In the dividend, divisor, and quotient, 2 will have the same unit. So out of them, we don't know which 2, it just depends on how they word the problem. 2 of them will have the same unit. 1 will have a different unit. And we know no matter what, the remainder is the same unit as the dividend. So we don't have to worry about that. As long as we know what the dividend is, we know what the remainder unit is. We just know. That's just how it works. But in the dividend, divisor, and quotient without the remainder, 2 of them, we don't know which one, will be the same. 1 will be different. Out of those 3 parts, 2 will be the same. Could be the dividend and the divisor. Could be the divisor and the quotient. 1 of them will be different. So the dividend could be different. The divisor could be different or the quotient could be different all by itself. So there's only going to be 2 units. Now every once in a while, like some problems we saw earlier, we'll see 2 different nouns, but they mean the same thing. Like that theme park question where we had like 5 entrances and we were trying to figure out how many lines. Well, we know entrances and lines was the same unit because each entrance had a line at it. So it might mean, there might be an extra word, but it's going to mean the same thing as one of those other units. Like that question about the theme park with the entrances and the lines. 2 different words, but they meant the same thing. Because every entrance had a line at it. And we had another question like that too, but I cannot remember it off the top of my head. Okay, so those are the notes. So make sure you have these written. Stick them like up here in your book where they won't be covering up any important information. Because we already know the name of the chapter. This is just the standard that it meets. And this is just the essential question. It's the same every time. It's the question you'll answer when we get to the review. So make sure you have all of this on your 1 or 2 Post-it notes. Stick them somewhere where they're not going to cover up any important information, but where you're going to have them to refer back to. Okay, so make sure you have that. Okay, if you're not finished writing, then quickly finish writing and then be ready to listen. Okay, so why does this matter? It's just math. Why does all this matter? Why does what piece means what unit matter? Well, because when you have division word problems, it's like what I said earlier. If it says how many coins did they get, you can't say 9 remainder 2 coins, because is there such thing as remainder 2 coins? No, there's such things as 2 coins left over. But there's no such thing, there's no such number as R2. If I went somewhere and said, hey, can I have R2 coins? Or can I have R2 apples? They'll be like, what? What kind of number has R in it? No number. So in order to answer these division word problems, you have to figure out, okay, what does the quotient mean? What question does the quotient answer? What question does the remainder answer? So as we do these problems today, we're going to do that tip I told you the other day with science. Every time we get to a period, we're going to make a picture in our head. That'll help us to know, okay, what is this sentence saying? So the first time we read, we're going to do that. We may even draw little pictures. We're not drawing models. We're just drawing a picture so we know what this looks like. So everybody, finger or pencil on example 1. When I see everybody's finger or pencil on example 1, we will continue. Pause, come back to it. Okay. The first time we read, we're going to make a picture in our heads of each of these sentences. Then we'll go back again to find all the important information. Is everybody ready? Read in your head while I read out loud. We're going to stop at the period, so don't keep going in your head past the period. Mandy wants to buy 4 books that each cost the same amount. Let's imagine this. You're at the store. You picked out 4 books. They all cost the same amount of money. We don't know how much they cost, so here's my 4 books. I'm going to put $2 signs on each. That shows me they cost the same amount of money. Is one more expensive than the other? No. They're all the same amount. Okay, I have that picture in my mind. Gone to the store. I picked out 4 interesting books. They all cost the same exact amount of money. Okay? Let's read the next. If the total cost is $74, how much does each book cost? Let's imagine it. I have my 4 books. They all cost the same amount of money. I'm walking up to the cash register. The cashier scans them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then she says, okay, that'll be $74. Okay. So I know I picked out 4 books. They each cost the same amount. They all together cost $74. How much did each book cost? Okay. So that means I'm trying to figure out what these $2 signs mean. Are they going to be different numbers? Is each symbol for the dollar signs going to be different numbers? No, because we know all 4 books cost the same amount. Okay, now let's go through and find our units. Find our important pieces and find our units. Maybe this is what we should have been doing all year. I'll keep that in mind for next year. First, we find our question, or our command if there's no question mark. If the total cost is $74, how much does each book cost? Well, let's find the things we know. How much means, and I have a dollar sign somewhere else, means my answer unit, oops, we only underline it once, is money. So I know my quotient, without the remainder, because I don't know what the remainder means, because I don't know what the dividend is yet, my quotient is going to be what unit? My quotient without the remainder, only the quotient part is going to be what? Colin?
How much money?
Money. Because I know the quotient part tells me to answer to how much. So whatever this is going to be money. Notice I did not circle the remainder box because sometimes the remainder means the same thing, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so now I figured out my quotient remainder. My quotient unit, and I figured out one of my 2 units. So let's make a little note, because we know how many units are going to be in this problem. Show me, class. How many units are going to be in this problem? Show me. Carla, you're just looking at Zari. You have a way to know this. How many units are in this problem? How do you know? Zadie?
Because I looked at my notes.
And what does your note say?
It says in the dividend divisor and the quotient, no remainder, the two will have the same unit.
Nope.
And one will have different.
You do look at your notes, but that's not the part of the notes that tells us there's going to be 2 units. Smith?
In a division problem, there will be 2 units.
Look at your note. Find where it tells you that there's going to be 2 units. It says, in a division problem, there will be 2 units. So we figured out one of our units is money. How many more units do we need to find? Carla?
1 more.
1 more. So let's go and let's keep reading. Then I have each, the word each, which always tells me I'm multiplying or dividing. Then I have the noun book. I know the noun that comes after each is my other unit. So I know one of my units is money. What's the other unit? Cullen? Books. So I've already done this first step. I've already found the 2 units. Now I just have to figure out what piece means what. Well, I already know my quotient is going to be the answer unit. My quotient without the remainder is going to be the answer unit. So I already know that's going to be money. Let's go back and see if we can figure out what the other pieces are. Mandy wants to buy 4 books that each cost the same amount. I see my other unit. So I know 4 books is going to be one part. 4 books that each cost the same amount. Again, we have the word each with cost. So again, we know money is a unit that we're using, but we already know that. Then if we keep going and read that last sentence, the first part of the last sentence, we see if the total cost is $74. Now that whole thing is important. Because remember, in division, the dividend is the total number of items. So total cost tells us that's the largest number in our problem. So that tells us we're doing division. Because it tells us that's the biggest number. That's what you're taking and you're breaking it down. We already know that. We know we went to the store, we picked out 4 books. They all cost the same amount of money. We spent a total of $74. Are we going to end up with more books or more money than 74 in the end? No, we only had 4 books to begin with. We only spent $74. That means there can't be more than 4 books because the problem told us there's only 4 books. We can't end up with more than $74 because that was the total cost. So now we know what each of these pieces means. The divisor, the groups that each have some money in them, is what unit? The divisor is what unit? Our divisor means what? Cullen?
How many books?
How many books? So we're going to label it. Please don't be lazy and think, I'll remember. No, you won't. So we know the divisor is the number of books because our problem literally said 4 books. We know our only units are money and books. The problem said the divisor 4 is books, the number of groups. Because remember, we're imagining each of these groups, each of these books as one group, and it's going to have an amount of dollars in it. because it's going to cost an amount of money. We know the quotient has what unit? What unit does the quotient have? Zari.
Money.
Money. How do we know that?
Because if $74 is the answer unit, then the answer has to have dollars in it.
So the number 74 has a dollar sign. So we know our dividend, our total number of items, we're imagining each dollar as an item. Are we going to end up with more than 74 of those dollars? Are we? No, because that's the total. So each of these dollars is one item, 74. In these books, these 4 groups, there's 74 total. We have to figure out how much is in each group. We know it's going to be the same amount because the problem says they each cost the same amount. So now we know these things. What is our remainder going to be? What is our remainder unit? Sorry, what is our remainder unit going to be? Michaela? Money. How do you know that? But how do you know that it's money? Don't worry about the problem. How do you know what the remainder is no matter what? Come on, guys. Don't tell me that whole first 10 minutes of this lesson was just me speaking and not meaning anything. Colin? How do you know that the remainder in this problem means money?
Because we wrote the remainder and the dividend will always have the same unit.
Look at the second piece of the note you made today. If you make these and you never look back at them, you wasted all that time. And it is silly. It really means another word, but it's not nice to say that word. If you wasted all that time writing these notes and you never look back at them, it is not smart. That's all I can say. The remainder and the dividend will always have the same unit. So it does not matter what the problem says. The remainder is going to be the same as the dividend, because remember, the dividend is the total number of items in the word problem. The remainder is the amount of those items that don't fit evenly into the groups. But sometimes we know the number of items in each group equally, and we're trying to find the number of groups. We'll know that. We'll see that in the next problem. Okay. So now all we have to do is divide. We figured out what each piece of our equation means. Each of those 4 pieces. We know the divisor is books. The dividend is money. The quotient is money. The remainder is money. Remember, ignore the remainder. Look at that last note. Maybe you were just staring or... Sorry, I haven't asked a question. Do you have a comment or an emergency? Because I haven't asked a question. So your hand shouldn't be up unless you have something important that you need to tell me. So look at the problem, cover up the remainder, and look at what we have left. We have the dividend, the divisor, and the quotient. Look at that last note on your Post-it. Out of the dividend, the divisor, and the quotient, no remainder. 2 will have the same unit. 1, 2. 1 will have a different unit. 1. Now in this case, the dividend and the quotient have the same unit, and the divisor is different. That's not always the case. But do you see how that last note, you can now see it? There are 3 parts that we're looking at: dividend, divisor, quotient. We're not worried about the remainder. We have 2 money, 1 books. because in the dividend, divisor, and remainder, 2 will have the same unit, 1 will have a different unit. But we still are only using our 2 units that we found in our problem. In a division problem, there will be 2 units. The remainder we don't have to worry about because the remainder and the dividend will always have the same unit. So now all we have to do is solve. And then once we have all of our boxes filled, then we'll look at how to figure out what fits with this question. Okay, so now we're just solving regular division. Michaela, step 1. How many times does our divisor fit into the first digit of our dividend? Once. 4 goes into 7. 1 time. Next step. Multiply the digit we just got by the divisor. Carla.
The divisor.
Just tell me the answer, please. We gotta keep going, so just tell me the answer.
The answer is going to be 4.
4. The digit we just got is 1. Our divisor is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Remember, line these all up with the tens place. Next, we subtract the answer to our multiplication problem from the first digit in the divisor. Cullen, what's the answer?
3.
3 plus 7, the first digit of our divisor, minus 4. The answer to our multiplication problem is 3. Zadie, next we bring down. Have we used the first digit of our divisor?
Yes.
Yes, because we have a number under it. Imagine we haven't put that. Have we used the second digit of our divisor yet?
No.
No, so let's put an arrow. And we're going to bring it down. What's our new dividend?
34.
34. Aaron, next we have to divide again. We're seeing how many times the divisor will go into our new dividend. What is the answer? 8. Where do we put that 8? Down here? Over here? Right here? Remember, the answer to the division parts always goes at the top, above the bracket. Okay, so we know 4 goes into 34 8 times. Next, Kingston, we're multiplying. That means we're multiplying the digit we just got by our divisor. What is the answer? So you're saying that if we multiply the digit we just got by our divisor, the answer is 8. 32, because the digit we just got is 8. Our divisor is 4. 8 times 4 is 32. Next, we subtract the answer to our multiplication problem from our new dividend. Smith, what is the answer?
2.
2, because the answer to our multiplication problem was 32. Our dividend was 34. If our new dividend was 34, if we subtract 32 from 34, we get 2. Zari, next we check for something to bring down. Does our first digit, have we used our first digit yet?
Yes.
We know because we have a digit under. Have we used our second digit yet?
Yes, it has an arrow under it.
Good. Are there any other digits to use?
No.
No, so now we compare. Is our answer to our subtraction problem less than our divisor?
Yes.
Yes, so as long as we did everything else correctly, that 2 becomes the what, Zari? The 2 becomes the what?
I can't really hear you.
Okay, we know that 2 is less than our divisor, so this 2 becomes what?
Becomes 2.
It already is 2. What does it become? Michaela, help her out. Our remainder. So now we know $74 divided by 4 is $18, 18 remainder 2. Now we have to figure out what that means. We know 4 is the number of groups because we imagined it. We know $74 is how much they cost all together. We know 18 is how many are in each group. But then we have this remainder too. So is each book $18 if we have a remainder? Is each book exactly $18? Can it be exactly $18 when we had 74 total and only 18 fit in each one evenly, but then we had this left over? Can they each be $18? No, because then we have that $2 that's extra. That just means, it doesn't mean there's $2 in each one. That doesn't mean each book costs $20. It doesn't mean that each book costs $18.20. It just means they cost $18 with a little bit left over. So, the remainder shows that each book will cost a little more than what? $4, $74, $18, or $2. Carla.
$18.
$18. Now with dollars, this 2 does not always mean $2. Actually, it does mean $2, which means technically, if this is $2, each book would cost $18.50. Because if we have, you don't have to know this, but if we have 50 cents, 50 plus 50 is what, class? $1. 50 cents plus 50 cents is what, class? $1 plus $2. I'm sorry, $1 plus $1 is how many dollars?
$2.
And we know $18.50 is a little more than $18. So that's what that means. Now money is a little different because you can't say, oh, well, there are $2 left over actually. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of like inches and things like that, which we'll see later. Maybe in this chapter, but I think maybe not until a few chapters from now. So, does everybody kind of see where we are? As long as you're paying attention and you're using this note, you will do okay. The more you practice, you will start to do more than okay. You'll feel good about it. So let's look at example 2. Kingston, do you have a question? Okay, quick. Loudly so we can hear you.
I added 18 fourth and then I got 72.
And then what if you added 2 to 72? That's because we actually didn't, this is a part of the last lesson I forgot, but it's okay, we're not going to worry about it. Because if you multiply your quotient by your divisor and then add your remainder, you're going to end up with your dividend if you did it correctly. Because Kingston just told us that he multiplied 18 by 4 and got 72. And then if we add our remainder 2, 72 plus 2 is 74. But we're not going to worry about that. Okay, is everybody ready so far to move on to example 2? Okay. Still on example 2. I'm not continuing until everybody is on example 2. You can't see me, so I don't know how you're going to be able to follow this lesson if you cannot see what I'm doing at all. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'm just going to continue because I can't wait for everybody to be ready if they don't want to be ready. Okay, remember we're going to read it twice. The first time we read it, we're going to imagine it. Maybe draw a little picture, not a model, because we're not using models anymore. We're just using our basic facts. If you're still using models, this is going to be really, really hard for you. That means you're not practicing your basic facts. So you're being lazy, you're just relying on models. Well, those are going to take a really long time because we're eventually going to get into 4-digit dividends. And are you going to be able to make a model that's all the way up to the thousands place? That means you're going to be writing over 1,000 little pieces in your model. Are you going to be able to do that? No. Right now it's not a big deal because we only have up to 99. That's only like 9 groups of 10. But when we get up to the thousands, you're not going to be able to draw those models anymore. You're not going to have time to draw 1,000 little pieces in groups. You're not. So you need to be getting your basic facts. Okay, let's read it once to imagine it. Gracie has 64 prizes. Okay? I'm imagining a girl named Gracie. I'm imagining that she has this pile in front of her, and there's 64 prizes in it. I'm not imagining 64 individual prizes. I'm just imagining a medium-sized pile of like little dollar store toys, or like maybe the erasers that I have in the treasure jar. Or maybe there's some pencils in there. Maybe there's some like party favor type stuff. So I'm imagining this girl named Gracie. She's standing at a table. She has like a small pile of little party favors in it. And I know there's 64. I'm not imagining 64 individual prizes, but I just know there's 64 in the pile. Maybe I see her saying, there's 64 prizes here. I see the little speech bubble coming out, and it says, I have 64 prizes. Okay, I see it. Can everybody else see it? Let's go to the next sentence. She will put 3 prizes in each bag. Okay? I'm imagining she has like a bunch of little like plastic party favor bags that you can get at like Target. Does everybody see those little bags? I don't know how many she has, but I see her taking one bag and putting 1, 2, 3 prizes in it, then putting it to the side. Now she's getting her next bag, taking 3 prizes from that pile, putting it to the side. And I imagine she's going to keep doing this until she either has none left or she has less than 3 left. Because is she going to put those last few prizes in a bag if there's less than 3, like if there's 1 or 2? Is she going to put that 1 or 2 in a bag and then give it to her friend when everybody else got 3? No. So I just imagine she's going to put 3 prizes in each of those little bags at a time until that pile is gone, or there's only 1 or 2 prizes left in it. Okay? Does everybody see that? Does everybody see it happening? Okay, let's keep going. How many bags will she have? Do I know yet? Can I picture that yet? But what am I counting? Am I counting those bags that she filled with the 3 prizes each? Am I counting the pile? Or am I counting each individual prize? Think of it. On the table, she's done. She's got her she's got her pile of small bags. There's 3 prizes in each one. She's got the leftovers, if there are any. Am I counting the leftovers? Am I counting each of the bags with 3 items in it, or am I counting each item? Zadie.
Each of the bags.
I'm counting the bags. Cool. Now I just have to figure out what each part of the problem means so that I know which part is the answer. Okay. Then it just says interpret the remainder, which means what does the remainder mean? So not only do I have to figure out how many bags there are, I have to figure out, okay, what does that remainder mean? Is the remainder more bags? Is the remainder the whole pile? Is the remainder what's left? Is the remainder the number of bags that are left, the empty bags? Is the remainder the number of prizes that are left? Let's go back. Let's find out. Okay, so now we're going to go back. We're going to find our units. We're going to find our pieces. So let's find the question first. How many bags will she have? Well, that one's an easy one because I see how many. So I know bags is my what? Aaron. Answer unit. Thank you, Colin, but I'm glad that you're really into it. But I do want to try to call in some other people. So thank you, though. Keep it up.
You're like
Because if nobody raises their hand, then I'm calling you. Okay. So I know bags is going to be my answer unit, which automatically means out of these 4 parts, divisor, dividend, quotient, remainder, I know which part already. Do I know the divisor? Do I know the dividend? Do I know the quotient? Or do I know the remainder? If I know my answer unit is bags, which unit do I know? The divisor? I'm not asking the number. Which unit do I know? The divisor, the dividend, the quotient, or the remainder? Michaela, the quotient. Do I circle the remainder too? No, because we know it means something different. So I know the quotient without the remainder will be bags because the answer unit is my answer. The main part of my answer will always be the quotient without the remainder. That's the main part. Sometimes the remainder will count, sometimes it won't. Okay. Now, do I see any numbers or anything else in that question? No. So let's go back to the beginning. Gracie has 64 prizes. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's list our unit. So I know one of our units will be what? Victoria? Bags. How many more am I going to have? How many more units am I going to have, Victoria?
You're going to have,
I found one. How many more am I going to have? Think of your notes. You have notes to look at.
you're going to have
I'm going to have one more. Because, why?
because in a division problem, there will be 2 units, and we've already found 1.
Good. So I've got one. I know I'm going to have 2. We can number them. That'll really tell us. I'm only going to have 2. Okay. Last time our question told us the other unit. Has this question told us the other unit? No. So let's go back. Let's find each first because I really want to find my units before I find the important pieces, at least in division. So does anybody see the word each or a word that means the same thing as each in this problem? Kingston, what do you see? Each. Each tells us we're doing multiplication or division. Oh no. What word do I see after each this time? Michaela? Bag. I know that's important, but did I find my other unit yet? No, so let's just keep reading. Let's find something that would be the other unit. Are we finding a verb for the other unit? Are we finding an adjective? Are we finding an adverb? Are we finding a pronoun, which you don't know about yet? Are we finding a noun? So let's find another noun. It's probably going to have a number attached to it, right? Because I got to have some kind of number. Gracie has 64 prizes. I have 2 nouns. I have Gracie and I have prizes. Which one's important? I think you guys are getting it. I just hope that you keep it when you do it on your own. Carla, which one's important, Gracie or prizes?
64 prizes.
Prizes. Let's not box it or do anything. Let's just underline it. Oops. And let's put a question. Is it our other unit? Let's keep reading to make 100% sure. She will put 3 prizes in each bag. I see another noun. I already know bag's important, so I'm not going to worry about bag. I know prizes and bag are other nouns. I already know bag's one of my units. Can my 2 units be the same? Class, what do you think?
No.
No, they can't, because then that would only mean 1 unit. And how many do there have to be? Class?
2.
2.
2.
So again, I see the nouns prizes and prizes. So that just confirms what is my other unit. That just confirms it. What is my other unit, Aaron? Prizes. Okay, now let's look for numbers. Carla already told me. 64 prizes, that's how much she has. Is she going to end up with more than 64 prizes? No. Is she going to end up with more than 64 bags if she's putting 3 of those prizes in each bag? No. So that means that's our biggest number, which means are we doing multiplication or division? Class?
Division.
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 Then I see 3 prizes. Uh-oh, every time we've looked so far, our 2 pieces of our problem, our total number of items, and then our other number were different units. But now they're the same because we know the prizes are the total amount of items. We know our divisor is going to be 3. But is the divisor always the number of groups, like in example 1? No, because sometimes the divisor is the number of what? Carla? But a little further, items, Michaela, in each group. So in this case, we know 64 is the total number of items. It's the prizes. Because our problem tells us that, and we know that's the total number of items. The quotient is always the total number of items. We don't know the total number of bags. So bags can't be the dividend because we don't know that yet. But we do know prizes, so it has to be prizes. Now 3 is not the number of bags because it doesn't say 3 bags. No, it says 3 prizes. Does that mean 3 prizes total? What does it mean? Zadie?
3 prizes in each bag.
Good. So, the divisor means prizes in each bag. We already know the quotient without the remainder is the total number of bags. So here we have the quotient is our groups because we're taking the bags and we're putting items inside of it. And the divisor is how many items are in each of those bags. Whereas before, we knew the total amount of groups, those books, and we knew that there was a certain amount of money in each book, the price, the cost. We already know our quotient is the total number of bags, the total number of groups. What's our remainder? What unit is our remainder going to be? Zari?
Prizes.
How do you know that?
Because our answer unit is going to be prizes and
The remainder has nothing to do with the answer unit. The remainder has nothing to do with the quotient. How do we know that our remainder is going to be the number of prizes? Smith?
Because we wrote it down on our sticky note as a reminder.
What did we write? What exactly did we write?
The remainder and the dividend will always have the same unit.
The remainder and the dividend will always have the same unit. We know our dividend is the number of prizes, so that tells us our remainder is the number of what, Smith?
Prizes.
That are left over. Just like before, we knew that our remainder was the number of dollars left over, the amount of money left over after we put the other money into groups. So now we already know what the remainder is going to tell us. How many what? We can already interpret the remainder, we just don't know the number that goes with it. But we know the remainder is going to tell us the number of what? Colin?
Prizes left over.
Prizes left over. So we already know. We just have to figure out, okay, how many prizes are left over. Miss Miller's going to be so mad at us. We have 3 more minutes. Let's get through this. I think we can do it. I think I might have you do try the guided practice tonight as homework. We'll do it together first thing tomorrow morning, though. But you're going to try it, and I'm going to check to make sure that it's tried. Okay? But I'm not going to grade it. But I am, if it's not there, though, or like I can tell you just wrote random answers. Okay, so now we just have to solve. We already know what each piece of our problem means, so now we just have to solve it so that we know exactly what to put where. Okay, step 1, divide the tens. How many times does our divisor fit into the first digit of our dividend? Ethan. Victoria, how many times does our divisor fit into the first digit of our dividend? 2 times, because 3, our divisor will go into 6, our first digit of our dividend, 2 times. I feel really good about this lesson today. Much better than I think I ever have anytime I've taught this lesson. Carla, I know our next step is to multiply the digit we just got by our divisor. What is the answer? Just tell me the answer so we can move through quickly.
6.
6. Because the digit we just got is 2, our divisor is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Very good. Next, we subtract. Smith, if we subtract the answer to our multiplication problem from the first digit of our divisor, dividend, we get what?
0.
0, because the answer to our multiplication problem was 6. The first digit of our dividend is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. Victoria, next we bring down, which means we look at our dividend and we figure out what we haven't used yet. Have we used the first digit?
Yes.
How do we know?
Because there was a number.
There's a number underneath it. Have we used our second digit yet? No, because even though there is an arrow, did we put that arrow there? No.
Now,
Now we've used it to make what?
to make
Our new dividend, which is 4. Excellent. Next we divide the ones. Zadie. That means we're figuring out how many times will our divisor fit into our new dividend.
0.
Imagine it.
Wait, once.
Once. Good. Picture it, picture it, picture it. And also know your basic facts. Where do we put that? Here, 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 here.
Beside the 2.
In our quotient. Okay. We know 3 will fit, our divisor will fit into our new dividend 4. One time, ouch. Aaron, next we multiply. We multiply the digit we just wrote by our divisor. What's the answer?
9.
What's the digit we just wrote?
3.
What's the digit we just wrote? Like we just used our pencils to write one digit. What was it? I didn't write that. And even if I had, it would have been a long time ago. What did I just write? I don't know where the 3 came. That's the only 3 I see. What digit did I just write? What digit did you just write? The last thing you wrote. Michaela? 1. Aaron, you have to slow down. 1. If I multiply that by my divisor, I get what? 3. Okay. When I say multiply the digit I just got, that means what did I literally just write? What digit did I just write? Well, I had just written 1 because I said 3 will go into 4 one time. So I had just written 1. So multiplying the digit I just got, well, the digit I just got was 1, by my divisor is 3. That's going to give me 3, which I'm lining up with my ones place. Okay, next. I subtract the answer to my multiplication problem from my new dividend to get what, Kingston? 1, because the answer to my multiplication was 3. My new dividend was 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, next, I need to check for something to bring down. Cullen, have we used the 6?
Yes,
How do we know?
because there's a number under it.
Did we use 4?
Yes,
How do we know?
there's an arrow.
Because there's an arrow. So now I'm ready to compare. Tell me.
Compare
The answer to my subtraction problem
is
to the
to the divisor.
and what must the answer to my subtraction problem be?
Less
Less than my
divisor.
divisor. What if it's equal to my divisor?
We did something wrong.
We did something wrong. What if it's greater?
We did something.
We definitely did something wrong. So that means 1 becomes the
Remainder.
remainder. We already know what each of these pieces means. Divisor 3 is what? Carla?
The prizes in each bag.
Good. Dividend is what? Michaela? Total prizes, all of them, all together, that big pile that we imagined at the beginning. Quotient minus the remainder is what? Smith?
The bags.
The bags. Remainder is what? Aaron? Zari?
The leftovers.
The leftover what? Leftover bags, leftover prizes, leftover
the
something
leftover
else?
prizes.
Leftover prizes. If you want to do a separate arrow that says prizes left over to remind yourself, that is fine. That may be helpful. Maybe we'll start doing that tomorrow. Okay, so now let's answer the question. Gracie will have Victoria?
21 bags.
21 bags. We know this because 64 divided by 3 equals, we're filling in blanks here. Zari?
21 bags. 21 remainder 1.
Good. If I'm just saying the equation, 64 divided by 3, you can tell me it's 21 remainder 1. We know the quotient without the remainder tells us the number of bags. The remainder, which is what? Aaron? Shows the number of what that Gracie will have left.
It's
Oh, sorry. The remainder shows the number of what that Gracie will have left. What? Leftover what? Bags, prizes, something else? Leftover prizes. The remainder, 1, shows the number of prizes that Gracie will have left. Our book just told us, but we already knew that. We already knew that. So Gracie will have how many prizes left? Smith?
1 prize.
1 prize. Let's check real quick. We know we take the quotient minus the remainder, which is 21, multiply it by 3. We can go place by place. Is it Miss Miller? She's so mad at me.
No.
Oh, okay, it's Mr. Bruce. He's not mad at me. 1 times 3 is what, class? We don't have to do any regrouping, so we can just do it. 1 times 3 is what, class?
3.
1 times 3 is what?
3.
Oh my goodness. 2 times 3 is what, class?
6.
6. Uh-oh, that's not it. But are we done?
No.
What do we have to do with the
No.
remainder? What do we do with the remainder to check? Colin,
We add
63 plus 1 is what, class?
64.
64.
Is that our dividend?
Yes.
So are we right?
Yes.
Okay. Keep this confidence that I know a lot of you have. When you get home, make sure stick that sticky note in your book so you don't lose it. Stick it so it doesn't fall out. You're going to do the guided practice problem for homework tonight. I'm not grading it. I'm checking to see if it's done. I'm checking to see if it's tried. And then we will go over it tomorrow. Everybody stand up. Push your chairs in. Oh man, I forgot to print something that you need. I will print it really quick after I send you. Girls at home, I will email it to you really quick. It's just a graphic organizer. It's not 100% important if you don't have it yet, but you will need it to help you. It's for your president project. Helpers, line up in your order.
Do we need books?
No.
Okay, bye. I know
Bye.
you need to go.
See you later.
Okay,
Helpers.
bye.
Yes. Quick, quick, quick. Everybody else, go ahead and line up in your order.
Our internet wasn't working, so for the last night's reading log, I had to use a world.
Okay, that's fine.
Do we have to bring anything?
Nope. Okay, go ahead, go around the corner. As soon as you see the person in front of you, Sadie, where are you behind the wheel? Mason's not here today, so
No.
go ahead. As soon as you see the person in front of you, round the corner, you go ahead and go.